Okay, continuing with our business process automation, one small note I want to add is if you have any doubts regarding the validation rule, you can look at the extra examples that I've added, or you can always go over here. The validation rule helps, and all the explanation is there given in detail. Okay, so just let me show that screen again. Yeah, let me validation rules. Also, in addition to this, what happens here is if you go to the validation rule builder, when you create or edit any of this, you can also look at the detail quick about the operators functions. It will take you back there. Okay, so you have a complete help along with this. So go through all of the examples, see most of the examples. The and is changed, it's new, it's not, it's none of the things that you will mostly use. Okay, so moving on, let us move on to the next part of the automation, which is the workflows. So workflows are basically implements couple of business processes. Like say if you want to send an information alert in the form of an email alert automatically when something happens based on some trigger criteria, then you can use these workflows and business workflow alerts. And then suppose you want to automatically create some tasks based on reminder task or something whenever some update or something happens. Also you can update fields on the same record. Like say something happens on a particular record and you want to update the same record. In that case, then you can always use the field updates. Also you can send XML messages, create and post it to an external URL. You can use it that way. Okay, so you can use workflows in those conditions. So a workflow basically has a definition. Workflow rule sets the workflow actions into motion when its designated conditions are met. Usually workflows work when there is a set of conditions which are met. You can configure a workflow action to execute immediately when a record is met, or you can also give it a time-based action. Like say you created a new account, you want to send an email, you want to send immediately or after 5-10 days or after 5 hours, you can do it that way too. Now you have an evaluation criteria that whenever a record is when do you want the trigger to fire. So whenever a workflow to fire, whenever a trigger record is created or edited, whenever you create or edit a record, or whenever a record is created or edited to subsequently meet. In other words, if it's already satisfied the criteria before, the rule won't run again. So basically it will run once. Next time when you change it, it's like alternate times. Okay, so which option you choose depends on your specific scenario. So these are the 3 evaluation criteria that you have. First is when the record gets created. Second is when it's created or edited. The third is when it's created or edited to subsequently meet the criteria. Then you can, that was the criteria, but you can also select the rule to get triggered when a following criteria, that was evaluation criteria, whenever a record changes. But this is when the following criteria is when you compare fields to static values, or if you want to create a formula expression that we saw using the expression builder or something. So in that case, you can run the trigger the workflow. Also, there are basically workflow can do 4 types of actions. It can assign a new task, send an email, update a field, and do an outbound message. Okay, so now what we are going to do is whenever a new student gets created, we are going to create a task of creating an identity card, send a welcome email and an email preparation to all the team members for preparing welcome kit, and third is we are going to update that student as confirmed. Okay, so these are the 3 tasks we are going to do. We are going to assign a new task to any of the employees to create a identity card. Second is we'll send an email welcoming the student, and we will also update the value of a field. Okay, so let's do that. for that, first we need to go back to student master, and we'll select on field, and we're going to create an email field here, which was missed last time. So we create a new field of type email. And you'll say student email. It's not unique, so let's say next. So as you know, this gets added to the layout. Right now it has only one layout, and save it. Okay, so whenever a new student is getting created, we want to send an email and create a task and update the field. Now let us see what happens if one student is created. Now currently nothing, no mail is sent. Now let's update the email. Now nothing is happening here. So please understand the scenario. Whenever the student is getting created, we are going to send an email that this student has got created, and welcome the student, and then we'll create a task to create a task ID that is containing create a identity card, and third is we will make that student confirm. This field will become confirmed automatically. So first thing is, let's work on the update and the task. So for that, to create a workflow, we'll go to setup, or let's keep this screen intact, and let's navigate to setup from here. It doesn't make a difference whether you create a workflow from Lightning or Classic, it's going to be the same. Okay, so select workflow and click tools. Let's delete any. So none of them are active now. Let me create a new rule. So and you have to select the object from which it's going to trigger. So this is basically from the object for which all this criterias and all this is going to be checked. We have an evaluation criteria, right? Created or edited which record. So we'll select student master 2. We click next, and we say welcome student. And now we are going to select only created. We want to run only when it is created. So also you have, like, you can decide, it gives you complete help as to when you want to run what. Okay, so right now we will come back to this welcome student, keep it for created, and I'll say criteria is met. Student email is not equal to, we can say null, or we can say this is just to fire a value. So I want it to fire every time, since age is required not equal to 0, so it will always fire if the value is correct. So let's save. So the first action is we want to confirm, so it takes us to the workflow action screen. So there are, as we see, there are 4 task, email, alert, field update. So let's first create field update. So we say update confirm. So now it's going to tell us, like, which field. You can see all the fields which are there, right? So let's select student, let's select confirm, and Salesforce intuitively, sorry about that. So Salesforce intuitively shows that, if you select the age, it will show that particular value. If you select, intuitively it shows the value. So let's say confirm, and we are going to make the checkbox true automatically. So we're going to save it. So we created the first one, which is going to update the confirm to true. Next one is we're going to create a task. Right now we are going to assign it to myself for an example case. You can assign it to the real users. When you say in progress, we'll say priority high. I'll say create ID card. So this is something you need to just add. You just say rule trigger date plus 0, so it fires immediately. Okay, you can ignore this protected component. This is for managed components which we are not creating right now. So we have said, like, create with this subject. So let's save. And the third one is to create an email alert. So before we create an email alert, we have to create an email template. So for that we have to check email, classic email, type email, select email templates. If you go down, there are many welcome student templates. So let me delete some of this and create a fresh student template. You can always okay, this is already being used for some, so we can always create or reuse an existing one. So let's create a new template. So select the third one, custom without letterhead, and we'll say available for use. Do not forget to click this. Let's say send template student. Okay, so we say this and click next. And here you can build the content and here content. So here you have to select the fields which are relevant. So here again it is student master 2. So this is like merge, like in Excel you can select the field that you want. So we want the student master name, so first name. So we'll say this will throw that field, merge field into this. So this can be used here. So we can say dear, please find our details, and you can put your username here, which will be the logged in user fields. Select the user fields and say username, or you can just use the correct name also, so that's fine. So you have to copy paste this. Remember this is so what we have done here is we have created this template from two different objects. One is the student master, and you can also place more fields if you want. So right now we are going to just use this, so we just say name. So next, save. And one more thing you have to do is you have to edit the HTML version and save it, and also you have to edit text version and say copy text from HTML, and save it. With these things your template is ready. So we come back to this screen and we'll create our, what were we doing, new email alert. An internal team. So this email will go to our internal team. So let us see one which we created. All this are stored in folders. So let's see what is the name. Email template student. Yeah, so we can pick our particular template, and the recipients are going to be user email field, which is there in the student. That is one. So that will be used to send it to the user. Then we're going to send it to ourselves too, and any additional emails you can send, and you can say from whom. You can say the current user email address. Other options are default workflow user email address. So let's save. So now we have defined three conditions. Is create three actions: create ID card, email student to email, and update the field. And this will all be fired on when the record is created and the age is not equal to 0. So let's do this and see what happens. First thing, also we have to activate this rule, otherwise it won't be working. Also check, in my case, let me just check if there are any other workflows active. so we don't want any multiple workflows running here. So let's sort it on object name, so no other student to is active apart from us. Okay, fine. So now we are going to go to student masters. Now create a new student, enter the correct values, and see, confirmed is not selected now. Student email, I'm going to enter my own email for now. Let's save. Now let's see if the task got created. Now if you see in my task, see, it has created this create student ID card. Automatically this task got created. Now let's look at the record, student record. Leave yes, the student record. Confirmed has got updated. The field update has happened. The only thing pending is to check for email, which we will do now. Just a minute. As see, the task has also got created, and the email will come, but it takes some time. Yeah, so the new account, let's see. No, it's taking some time, so it will come, but yeah, so I got this email even though it's giving me some error. So basically in the real time it will send the correct, if you can test it out. See, it takes the name automatically from the current record. We don't have to, it takes it because of the template, and it also takes the username. So this is how we automate workflow process, workflow rules. So we created 4 actions. So pause it over here. It's a extremely useful tool to do automation, task, email and field updates. Outbound message we are not doing because we will be doing a different, it's moved to integrations now. We generally don't create outbound messages much unless we have an endpoint correctly available, which is not the case now. Okay, so go ahead, pause the video, create a task, email alert and field update for the student, and similarly do it for the account object.